Good morning. Hey, I'm Pastor Joanna. Welcome to Daily Devotions. It is Friday, September 4th, 2020. And thank you for joining Mount Horeb Lutheran Church and our opening of Scripture together to hear what new things God has to say to us today. So we're going to open to Romans chapter 10, verses 15 through 21. And it is Romans, called Romans because it's Paul writing to the people in Rome. And just a little background, I read ahead, and this is the part of Paul's argument or monologue or theological essay that is talking about Israel being called first, basically, and how they had a hard time with receiving the good news of Jesus Christ. That at the beginning, well, it's not really at the beginning of chapter 10, it's at the end of chapter 9, it refers to the Israelites, the unbelievers, as stumbling over the stumbling stone, and that they did not strive, some did not strive for the law based on faith. They strive for the law based on good works. And well, if you're human, you may know how that feels. Good works keep creeping back into our conscious behavior and subconscious as well. So chapter 10, let us start at verse 15. All right. And how are they to proclaim unless they are sent? Now the they here goes back and back. I invite you to read, but he's talking about no distinction. Sorry, got distracted. Okay, as it is written, how beautiful are the feet of those who bring good news. But not all have obeyed the good news, for Isaiah says, Lord, who has believed our message? So faith comes from what is heard, and what is heard comes through the word of Christ. But I ask, have they not heard? Indeed they have, for their voice has gone out to all the earth, and their words to the end of the world. Again, I ask, did Israel not understand? First, Moses says, I will make you jealous of those who are not a nation. With a foolish nation, I will make you angry. Then Isaiah is so bold as to say, I have been found by those who did not seek me. I have shown myself to those who did not ask for me. But of Israel, he says, all day long I have held out my hands to a disobedient and contrary people. The word of the Lord for the people of God. Thanks be to God. So if you heard a little bit there, he is talking about the Gentiles accepting based on faith, not on being the chosen nation, and then Israelite being the disobedient and contrary people. He's talking about the ones who do not accept based on faith, but rather on works and Abraham as their ancestor. You know, you've heard it all. But back up a little bit in verse 13, Paul's ultimate arch here is saying that everyone who calls on the name of the Lord shall be saved. That includes Greeks, Jews, Gentiles, everyone. And that is what he goes back to over and over again. And when he says, oh, of course the lawnmowers have started. When he says, beautiful are the feet, he's referring back to Isaiah. And Isaiah was a prophet who was telling Israel, hey, God's going to save us. God's going to redeem us. And if you look back at Isaiah, what was it? 50 something? No, I got that wrong. I'll look at it in a second. But if you look back at Isaiah, Isaiah is promising God's people who are lost and in exile and enslaved good news, and that they have been charged, have been given this gift of the good news, and that their feet will carry it to the top of the mountain, and that is what makes their feet beautiful. And on that end, feet are often, if you take that one verse out of our reading today, feet are often thought of as ugly, or maybe you don't think that, or stinky at least. They're stinky. And some people even have a fetish, no pun intended, actually pun intended, a fetish for other people's feet or their own feet. They don't want to look at them. They don't want other people to see them. They don't want to touch theirs or others' feet. So that's kind of a fun fact about today's reading, is that Paul calls the feet of the people who deliver the good news beautiful. And so I ask you, how are your feet beautiful today? How have they delivered good news? Today, yesterday, last week? And how will you keep walking forward in that good news? It is part of who we are, part of who Isaiah and Paul are reminding the people, that we are together in this gospel and this good news that is Jesus Christ. And it is not the fact that we're Jewish or Gentile or Roman or anything, any category that we have in our society is not because of that our feet are beautiful, our message is beautiful. It is the message that we deliver that is beautiful. So I hope you found something of beauty today to go about and share the good news, because that's, thanks be to God, is what we try to deliver. Sorry again for the long